City of Somerton work session. We're gonna skip all formalities and just go through roll call and the presentation.
Mayor Gerardo Anaya,
Present.
Vice Mayor Lorena Delgadillo, Councilmember Jesus Roldán,
Present.
Councilmember Luis Galindo,
Present.
Councilmember Miguel Villalpando, Councilmember Juan Castillo,
Present.
Councilmember Marta Gonzalez. Mayor, you have a quorum.
Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. Chona Medell, Finance Director. Thank you for the opportunity to present today. I'll be providing an overview of the capital improvement program budget expenses for both the general fund and the enterprise fund. I'll also be reviewing our departmental and divisional operational budgets, expense budgets only. This work session is intended to serve as a guide as we move forward towards finalizing a balanced budget for fiscal year 2026. In today's presentations, I'll be highlighting the following. Key CIP projects across the department, requested additions, including any proposed new positions, operational budget trends with the focus on notable increases or decreases compared to the previous fiscal year. Please note that while I will not be diving into each operational budget in full detail today, I will highlight the significant changes and trends for your consideration. If any questions arise, in the details of these budgets, I'll do my best to provide clarity. For department-specific questions, I may refer to them to the appropriate director or supervisor if they are present. Additionally, if there are projects or items you expected to see or do not see, or if you'd like us to review certain items further, please don't hesitate to bring them up. I will gladly work on incorporating or revising those as needed. If there's no immediate questions, I'll go ahead and begin the presentation. Presentation before you is a general fund CIP. And what I will do is I will say the department or the division, just kind of go through each individual item, give you a grand total, and then just pause for any questions that may arise. So the first one is mayor and council. This is the 0.8% tax budget. Every year we put aside the CIP projects that you guys recommend or propose. And this year will be Centennial Park Christmas tree extension, the youth center upgrades, the Centennial Park pickleball courts, the Centennial Park Museum project design only, and the West Somerton Pond Community Center and Shelter design only. With a total for fiscal year 26 through the general fund of $460,000. Any questions? Sure.
Mayor,
You go ahead.
on the youth center upgrades, can you refresh my memory what's that gonna?
Thanks.
James Jones, Parks and Rec Director. It's that metal edging on the bottom that was destroyed by the sprinklers and the water that's all rusted. We got to fix that so that the building kind of doesn't continue to deteriorate.
Thank you.
Any more questions?
Mayor, if I may,
Yes.
I know Shona will hit on this a little bit later, but I just want to bring up that there is some 0.8 monies for the arch, the entrance, but that's, I believe, that'll be coming up, just to let you know.
The administration CIP is potential infrastructure needs for the solar project. We're working hand in hand with the administration as well as the solar contractor that we had awarded previously to ensure that we can get the minimal of expenses as possible. So if at any possible way we can avoid spending this $50,000, we will. In the finance budget, the CIP, we will be next year, Parks and Rec will be moving to their own facility. That's the old AWC building. So once they move, we wanted to redesign the interior of our finance area to make it a little bit more privacy due to, finance items that are, kind of able to see. So making a little bit bigger cubbies and office space. The budget for the courts, there was no requested CIPs. Economic development, the land acquisition that was originally brought to your attention before is in there for $275,000. Branding guidelines update. This is the update only on the branding guidelines. And then replacement of a vehicle for staff to attend special events. In our discussions with economic development, the Malibu that is assigned to their department is not being used. They're using their personal vehicle due to the Malibu doesn't run well and it needs a lot of maintenance. So instead of putting in for this vehicle, that's the reason why they're requesting a new vehicle. Parks and Recreation, we have the water tower light project for $200,000 and Paracone Park field lights for $550,000, which is a total of $750,000. The water light project was scheduled for fiscal year 2025, but due to another project delaying some of the items there, so we had to put it on fiscal year 26's budget. Senior Center, there's no CIPs requested. Fire and ambulance, we have the F-150, the cab crew for the emergency vehicle, the staff vehicle, a replacement of a ladder truck. First year installment, these trucks take up to 3 years to be built. So talking with Chief in order to try to see if we can budget throughout the 3 years to get this payment instead of doing one lump large payment. We anticipated to budget for this amount for a first year installment. An autoloader for ambulance 3. Replace the carpet in public safety building, the entire building, which includes PD, fire, and the common areas. And then a replacement of an ambulance. Right now, their backup ambulance is having a lot of repairs. And so they're trying to see if we can, beat so it won't break down, basically. So their old one won't break down and won't be out of an ambulance. So this again is a first year installment. This vehicle also takes anywhere from, I believe it's 24 to 36 months, right? 14 to 18. 14 to 18 months. So again, this is the first installment. Any questions? Police Department, Bay Garage design. The completion of it, this was budgeted in fiscal year 2025, and they are still trying to finalize that. So it needed to roll over into fiscal year 26. So that was a $20,000 item. Body cameras, 8 additional with a 5-year lease agreement. And then they have 2 items that are under Arizona DEMA Border Fencing and Technology and Arizona DEMA Prosecution and Imprisonment. Those are grant items, which the grant is a rollover. They haven't expended it all, so it will be spent and completed this year, or this upcoming year.
And what type of projects are gonna do with?
Those grant items?
Yeah, with
Those grant items already had equipment projects in them. And so they're purchasing the equipments. It just,
What
still-
was the equipment?
there were trikes, there were radios. Chief, do you remember all of the equipment that was on there? I know, I don't have a list of all of the equipment.
I don't remember all of them off the top of my mind, Mayor, but I know we were still getting quotes for additional, because we've purchased a lot of equipment, but we still have equipment that is not prepared, is not ready, is back ordered. So we're waiting on that so we can make the purchase.
And this grant is actually it's been active for a little over 3 years. Both of them, actually. Any questions? The next one is animal control, the spay and neutering project. This was mentioned in one of the council meetings in regards to a grant that might be available. We did some little research on the grant, and it is a competitive grant, and it does require matching. So we budgeted for $20,000 because it's usually a $10,000 grant. So to match it for half, because usually competitive grants usually like the more the match, if you can match the amount that they're giving you, they usually try to approve it for that person or that entity, excuse me. The next item is community development. This is the Welcome to Somerton entrance sign, the monument sign that's on the east side, and then the replacement of the inspector truck, totaling $96,500. The next one item is a human resource, which is a NeoGov application tracking platform. Currently, we are using Indeed, which has no screening mechanism on it. So this NeoGov is a screening mechanism. So it screens for particular positions. So if we require everybody to have a high school diploma, currently in Indeed, we have to manually go through and make sure that they put there that they had the high school diploma, or there's been instances where we've brought them in to, do an interview and found out that they did not have a high school diploma. And that's just one of the capabilities. But I think that this will help us as far as just filtering and just helping us with staff, because our staff is doing it all manually at this time.
What's the cost of Indeed compared to this?
The cost of Indeed is about $2,500. But that doesn't incorporate the time spent for 2 staff members to go through the applications and weed out the ones that are not even at the required limits. The next one is information technology, IT. This is a mini split for the AC mini split for the server room. Right now it's down, so we need to get that replaced. And then also UPS backup, a battery backup for the City Hall server room. Special projects is the West Somerton Park Pond Phase 1 and the City of Somerton Strategic Plan citywide. With the West Somerton Pond and both of the city and the strategic plan, we're allocating $5,650,000. We are trying to negotiate and trying to talk with other agencies. And if you'll notice, the source of funding is under the grants and other source of fundings. So this item, due to the fact that we are a municipality, and say if we go out for a grant and we get the money and we don't have it in our budget, we can't spend it. So if we do not get the funding sources for this item, it'll just continue to roll over until council decides on how they want to approach that project and see what the funding aspects are for us. And then the city, the strategic plan is at half and half. Basically, they are also looking for other source of fundings and some of the agencies to help us out with the strategic plan. And we're asking the remainder of it to be general fund. So the total CIP projects come out to $8,734,897. A good portion of that is the special projects with that West Somerton plan, West Somerton Pond at 5.5 million. Last year, with the total for the general for CIP was $1,706,386, which was an $898,000 difference, which is a 34% increase from last year to this year. And then with the grants, for last year, we had $1,797,201. This year is $4,341,781, which is a 70% increase. And of course, that is because of that West Somerton, a good majority of it is because of the West Somerton Pond. Any questions on the general CIP plans? So I will continue. with the Public Works CIP. The majority of the items in this CIP are enterprise funds, with the exception of the hearth and the exception of the fleet services. The first one is water. We have the water treatment plant medium replacement. This design Orange Grove water line replacement. And that's design only. Construction of the Orange Grove water line replacement. Replacement of an emergency truck. Design a block fence for water treatment plant and wastewater treatment plant. This is split budget between the two divisions, which would be water and wastewater. Somerton Heights Phase 3, the CDBG is rural. This is guaranteed funding apportionments, and we'll be applying for that May. And that usually comes around anywhere from the 380,000 to 450,000. So we're budgeting at the higher end of 450,000. Whatever we are assigned and apportioned to that money is what we'll be expending.
Under, did the design already start for the Orange Grove water line replacement?
No, it has not.
You know, we have design and construction the same year. I think realistically, it's probably gonna take longer than this next fiscal year. So just to make sure that we have our schedules right, because yeah, it's just when I see this design and construction the same year, we see this last fiscal year how long it takes for us to procure and then plus design. So just pay attention to that.
Okay, will do. Yes, good, come. Yeah.
Quick note on this Orange Grove design.
Leo,
Yes,
just state your name and title. please.
Neil O'Malley, Water Department, Somerton. Real quick, a little bit on this. It overlaps with the county project for the force main going through there, because the county wants to put sewer on the mesa. So they want to pave the streets. Before they pave the streets, we want to put our water mains first. So we're kind of going to see what goes on, so we can work with them at the same time. Get the water and the sewer all together at the same time for the mesa. That's what it is. So we don't know. We got to see their schedule, what it is. It'll fit with ours, so we can get everything together at the same time. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. The next one is the Somerton Heights Phase 4, the HUD apportionments. Currently, we have HUD apportionments that we may be signing to this project if it's council's direction. And we'll come at a later time to present that to you, but it is a grant funding that we had already started from this past fiscal year. And then we have the CDBG SSP for Phase 5 of Somerton Heights. This is a competitive grant that opens up the same time as the CDBG rural apportionments come through. So therefore, we will be applying for the competitive grant side of it to see if we get it. The last couple of years, we did not receive the competitive. Any questions? So an overall water budget, CIP budget of 1.5 million. And 1.2 is through grants and 300,000 is through general fund sourcing, which would be either the enterprise fund or a transfer in from the general fund. Wastewater, we have the crane truck, the wastewater treatment plant odor control, a digester blower, a flight pump, a flight pump for the RASWAS system, design the block fence, which is the split for the water treatment plant and the wastewater treatment plant, design only, design an influent channel for the plants, and then wastewater treatment plant upgrades. Any questions on these? The total amount of the budget is 1.2 million. 443,000 is coming out of grants, and 762,000 is coming out of general fund. Next one is sanitation. This is an annual trash can replacement. Due to the growth of Somerton and the anticipated housing development of around 50 houses next year, we're asking for an increase on the replacement for trash cans just to provide for the new residents. HERF streets. So we have the pavement preservation rural roads, Yuma County. This is a joint agreement with Yuma County with the roads, and it's 150,000. This is an annual item that always is presented on the CIPs. The pavement presentation, pavement preservation intercity. This is a annual inner city pavement preservation intercity for the streets. They increased it because there was more items that they were anticipating to preserve and get completed. County 17th, Orange to Cesar Chavez Pathway. Parking lot, Paracone design, parking lot for Paracone, the design only. Circle K signal light improvement. Circle K signal light improvement arm installation. Circle K storm drain relocation. This is a development agreement reimbursement. County 15th and Avenue D crest curve correction. This is also a agreement with Yuma County. Main Street redevelopment, Somerton and Main Street, including the arched welcome sign. Mayor, this is what Louis was talking about in regards to the 0.8. Originally, that a line item was budgeted last year for $1 million because this is the apportionments that we received. And then we added the 400,000 from last year was 271,000, and this year we added 400,000 for the arch. And then the next one is Main Street redevelopment, and that's the RTAC. Those two last items, we are in the process of the $1 million in regards to the HUD grant opening up. When you get apportionments, they assign a division of federal department in order to oversee the apportionments, make sure that they're expending them correctly. So therefore, that takes a little bit of time. So hopefully that with everything going on, we're just kind of up in the air to see how fast that moves. And then same with the RTAC. The RTAC is a state granted fund, and they have not done the state budgets. So we don't know until probably around October-ish, November, of how they're going to assign that.
What I don't see is the Spring Street construction over there by the Paracone. Is it anticipated to be completed this fiscal year, or where does that appear?
Mayor, well, Saul, maybe you can, on the Spring Street project, the completion date?
Mayor, Council, Saul Arbor, Community Development Director. The contractor has indicated that they'll be completed 100% by July. That's their target schedule. I don't know if that's beginning of July, end of July, more than likely beyond past July 1 though.
Is it reflected here, or?
It is not reflected here because when we did this and put it together, it was anticipated that it would be completed on June 30th.
Okay.
So now that we have a better date, it'll be reflected when we come back to council for the final budget.
Thank you.
Thank you, so. The next one is fleet services. Fleet services used to be under streets, which was the HERF. We've removed all of the fleet items and put it in its own budgetary stance so that we can start calculating how much the actual division is spending on its own instead of it being all combined with streets. So you'll see they have their own CIPs and they also have their own operational budget. So they're asking for a vehicle AC reclaim machine for our vehicles and to service the ACs in our vehicles. And then the shop does not have a cooler, so they're asking for a swamp cooler in the shop. That's a total of $27,500. And then recycle plant, they're requesting a portable office, which is technically a Connex box that is converted into an office space. They do not have any type of office space at the recycling area. So this will serve us as an office for them to do their paperwork and to do all the stuff. The infrastructure is there in order to put the box down. Any questions? So overall, in the Public Works CIPs, it's $6,651,218. With that, last fiscal year, for the general fund was $1,574,700, which is an increase of $747,551, which is a 32% increase. And then the grants last year was $450,000, which is a difference of $878,967, which is an 89% increase, but that was due to the apportionments. Any questions on the overall parks, Public Works CIPs? So the next item is personnel requests. Overall. And what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna state the proposed or request personnel and then the department. If you need justification, I'll go ahead and stop and provide justification. If you have any questions, just go ahead and stop me. The first one is ground maintenance crew leader, and that's the Parks and Rec division. The second one is the maintenance one, and that's the Parks and Rec division. And these two items, the maintenance one is already on our salary scale. It's just they're requesting to fill an additional position. And the ground maintenance crew leader is not on the salary scale. And we will be presenting that to you in May in order to add that to the salary scale. Plans examiner for community development. This position is not requesting an additional fill position. It's basically taking the person that is doing the permit technician duties as right now, as well as the plans examiner's duty, and providing, and she's doing taking her plans examiner tests. So she's doing all of the qualifications for the plans examiner. So they're requesting to fill that position. Communications and media specialist. This is for our economic development. This is an additional position that they're requesting due to the fact that they hired a graphic designer, but we need somebody that goes out and does the pictures and does the media portion of the duties in economic development. And this is a new position, so we will be requesting that when we bring back the pay scale as well. Customer service.
Hi, can I add something, Chona, to the videographer or to the media specialist?
Sure, go ahead.
Mayor.
Yes, go ahead, Jasmine.
Mayor and Council, Jasmine Zamudio, Economic Development Director. Sorry, I can't be there today. I'm at a training, but I'd like to add something. Chona did mention that it's for photography, but I also want to emphasize that it's also for our media representation, which is also video development. At the moment, we're lacking significant representation of our pillars. As you know, our pillars are family, business, and events, and we're only highlighting in video our events. And having a videographer to highlight the other two pillars, which is family, aka quality of life, and our businesses, is essential to represent our community how we promise them. So I just want to add that little tidbit that it's not just pictures, it's also video and essentially the overall communications of our efforts to the city, to our residents. And that's it for me. Any questions? Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Jasmine. The next position is a customer service specialist. This is the finance department. Currently, we have one customer service specialist that's in the front office. And our accounting specialist is a backup. And then from our accounting specialist, our accounts receivable clerk is the backup. So we would like to make sure that we have enough coverage and the other people are doing their duties as their department, as their specific duties for their positions. Finance administrator, this is a position that is underneath me, which it is relevant for just succession in general. So this is not an additional position that I would like to fill. This is actually reclassifying the person that is already doing and assuming those positions. She's my accountant one. The difference for that position would be $12,920. Payroll specialist, my accountant as well is doing the payroll specialist job. We do not have a payroll specialist. Originally, we had a person that was contracted to do payroll. And that position was never refilled after she had left. Billing administrative supervisor. This is a newly created position, but this is to fill the supervisory duties of the billing specialist. The current billing specialist now assumes these duties already. And she oversees basically the part-time billing specialist and does some work, and then chief does his administrative work. So we're requesting this and this position, and then this is also succession plan. So if our billing specialist currently leaves, we do not have anybody to pick up that ambulance billing on a full-time basis. And then currently they have a billing specialist that is part-time. They would like to change that into full-time. And these two positions are both under fire. The police department is requesting to fill, to have a staffing of 20 patrol officers. These are patrolmen. Currently, they were budgeted for 16. And they would like, including the SROs. And they would like to make to ensure that the budget is for 20 police officers. City clerk, this is another person that has been doing the duties, or the position is doing the duties. So we're requesting or proposing that this position be filled next fiscal year. The difference in that would be the $14,800. IT manager. This is another position that the position assumed by a person that does not in that manager position, and we're requesting that that position be filled this coming fiscal year, and there's no budgetary impact on that one. Safety specialist position. HR, currently we do not have a risk management team or any safety team member on the city staff. And this position will help with risk management, as well as ensuring that the compliance of putting in for our claims for any city damages, any vehicle damages, and then also ensuring that we have safety and compliance with a lot of our grants, a lot of our bonds do audits in order to ensure that we're complying with all of the ADA and all of the safety, make sure we have all the postings of our labor standards. So we don't currently have a person making sure that all of that is established. So it's just kind of a lot of us hands in that pot, making sure that it's done now. The next one is Deputy Public Works Director. This is a newly created position due for succession. They would acquire additional duties and be able to step in when the director is not present. Public Works Customer Service Representative. This position used to be filled. I was told a few years back and it just kind of fell off their budget and never got filled back. This person maintains the customer service outside. So if somebody has a complaint about their water bill, currently it's whoever's available that we send. So if it's the guys and they're working, if they can get there, they can't. If they can't, sometimes Leo goes. So this person does our customer service runs basically to ensure that, you know, the customers are happy, they're getting serviced in a timely manner, and to ensure that their billing and all of that's correct. It's also to do any errands or runs, you know, we're not pulling people off of jobs or people are not waiting. Streets and Sanitation Manager. This is basically a newly created position due to the fact that the supervisor in the Streets and Sanitation currently just has the title or the position title as leader. And so there's no budgetary impact on this. It's just the fact that we're trying to reclassify and title change. Any questions on any of these positions?
Guess in general, my question for the city manager is this the final list that was vetted by administration, have other conversations? So this is the list that was weeded, narrowed down from the original list of requests?
Mayor, if I may, yes, the only one that I do want to point out is the Deputy Public Works Director. That one we're reevaluating. So that will be taken off the list. There might be one more administrative a position that we would like to add. We're looking into for the PD. But other than that, I think these were
Correct.
the ones that were narrowed down. Yes.
Yes.
But again, you know, we'll look at the budget and how that's going to work.
So now I'll go along the operational budget. And as I stated in the beginning, I'm not going to go line item by line item. We'll be here all night. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through just kind of the bottom line figure and then give you a percentage of what the calculation comes out to as far as it's an increase or a decrease from last year to this year. And then when you're looking at the budget, if you see something that kind of stands out to you, just let me know. So the first one is administration. The overall fiscal year 25 budget was 350,000. This year they're proposing 397,963, which is an increase of 13%.
And where are those increases? What?
The increase,
Yeah, the
overall
highlights of it.
increase, of course, salaries is the first increase due to COLA. We had a decrease in retirement. ASRS went down to 12.4 to 11 or 12 even, sorry, 12 even. The increase in overall health insurance is going to be a little bit. And then you have the solar CIP that went from 30 that we initially budgeted for last year for 30 and we're doing 50. And this is, again, work in progress. We're still negotiating prices and we're working to not actually have to spend that 50,000.
If I may, Mayor, also the solar project, this is in case, we're putting this down in case we need technical assistance with the project. But we're hoping we don't have to use it, but we want to make sure we budget if the solar project does go through.
Any questions? And we have. So we have the mayor and council budget. The big decrease in mayor and councils is the retirement plan. Last year, we put in the other benefits, 300,000. And it was determined that we were removing that. So that is your biggest decrease. So you decreased your budget by 30%.
As far as salaries and wages, what does that?
Salaries and
Oh, it's
wages,
actual
that's your
current,
stipend.
okay, okay.
Yes.
so it's-
Any other questions? We did do legal. We have to have a separate attorney for PSPRS. So that was an increase on your legal for just $1,000 additional.
Mayor, if I may, just want to point out the council budget is pretty, I mean, other than going down with that line item, it's pretty consistent. We did look at all the trips and try to itemize them for you. But again, if you see something there that we're missing, please let us know. But we try to work with the clerk and just past history, making sure that we are identifying the different needs for council.
Any questions? The next one is the clerk's office. Their overall for last year was $131,069. This year is proposed at $158,798, which is an increase of 21%. This established the increase you'll notice on salaries. As well as, of course, the benefits that go along with the salaries. Also, office computer and equipment went up. And then I believe there's one last one. Oh, the software. It was moved, her software was moved to Compass, from where were you moving from? Sorry.
No, we currently have iCompass and we have iCompass since last year, but I currently acquire the Archive Social from Economic Development.
As well as the iWorks Business Management. Any questions?
The salaries, was there some reallocation of? Yeah, from 31 to 93.
So the COLA was added to that as well as the reallocation of the deputy clerk to the clerk.
Okay. But did additional, we anticipate additional personnel or?
No.
Or was the clerk divided amongst several departments?
Yes.
Okay.
Any other questions? The next one is Finance Department. There was a few items that were from other budgets that we sat down with administration and determined that it would probably be better to put them in the finance budget. So some items from other budgetary amounts came over to finance. So overall, the last year's budget was 705,147. The proposed amount for finance is 884,525, which is a 25% increase. We do have the CIP for 30,000. The CIP went down from last year because the budgetary software from last year was 35. The general liability went up $100,000. It's a 10 to 15% increase this year. AMMRP is got big. got a big hit from this past year, so it went up. Our accounting and auditing, went down 40,000. Due to the fact that a lot of the items that the accounting staff was doing, our outside accountant, we brought in-house. Our software and support, again, that went up a little due to the fact that we acquired the budgetary software. And those were the big items. Any questions? Human Resource Department. Originally, the budget for last year was $235,034. This year's proposed budget is $399,517. This is a 70% increase. Some items were moved to the HR department's budget. And then some items last year were not budgeted. So we were scrambling for some items that they had to pay for this year and didn't have budgeted. So, and these were operational items, so it wasn't an option. And then also the newly safety specialist position is included in this budget. Any questions?
Increase in travel, that's
Yes.
significant right there, isn't it?
So previously, travel did not get budgeted for HR. They did not expend their $1,500 yet on their budget line item. They are sending one of their specialists to ADP conference in order to get them more trained. But initially, they did not send out training for HR. She's requesting a new software, therefore she's gonna have to have some training. She has the SHRM conference that admin suggests that she goes just for, all the HR items that need to be updated.
On the part-time wages, is that for the whole city or is it?
Yes. Yes.
And before they were budgeted somewhere else and they were.
So
moved
before,
there?
we did not have that budgeted. And when we bring back the salary scale, the recommendation is to try to do a CTE program. And it will all fall under HR's budget. And to provide the high school students, because Somerton High School is going to start to have juniors this coming school year and seniors. So to allow for that CTE item. My understanding, it was available in previous years, some type of on-the-job training program through Somerton, but then it was removed. And again, these are just proposed.
So those 42,000 would be an increase. It's currently there's no.
Currently, there's nothing.
Okay.
Yes, it would be an additional. Any more questions?
On the computer software, went from 3,500 to 37,000. This is NeoGov, but also ADP platforms.
So ADP platform is the portion that they pay. We already have ADP, and they have an HR portion in ADP that HR uses to do the open enrollment for our health insurance, any of the HR portions. So they have always paid that. So that's the reason why that is there. But the NeoGov is the biggest cost. Any more questions? Next one is courts. The budgetary amount, the salaries were a little increased. There's no positions added to that salary. It was just COLA. Contract labor, the janitorial cleaning services, they budgeted last year, under budgeted. So they made sure that we corrected that and made sure that the budget was correct. And as well as Loomis came back at a higher contract amount. So again, when we did the fiscal year 25 budget, it was under budgeted. So that's the big difference you see there. Office computer and equipment, they're requesting for the new judge furniture, as well as a new copier and a new computer. The new copier and computer updates, half will be coming out of the AOC portion. And then telephone was another under budget item. Originally, when they budgeted 2,000, and the spectrum did not get included in that, and their spectrum is a little higher than most. So that is an average.
Under retirement, it went more than double, didn't it? Was it that under budgeted too, or?
Yes, because right now the actuals, and this is through March, so they still have a whole quarter to go. They're at 26,000. Any more questions on courts? Next one is IT division. Salaries are because of the COLA. We have travel and it is a little higher due to the fact that if there's any offsite events, they're planning on doing the network and the cyber cloud, but they do have most of their training is in-house and local, but if they need to go out of town. Office computer and equipment, again, that mini split was there. As well as some upgrades for the computer and the front desk of council chambers. Repair and maintenance vehicle, they do have an older vehicle. They're requesting some new tires and just general maintenance. And then the computer technical support. So all of the general fund software is under IT's budget. We moved that last year. So there's a little bit of increase. Alexis has told me that she reached out to them. Now we're paying taxes on some of those softwares. So the increase is a little higher. And then we have just a little inflation coverage on a lot of that software. So the overall, the fiscal year 2025 budget amount was 291,466. The proposed fiscal year 26 budget is 433,128, which is a 49% increase. Any questions? Economic development. As stated previously, economic development is requesting or proposing one additional position. So there'll be a staff of 3. Education and training. A lot of the education and training events for ED was spread around. So we tried to ensure that they got it all budgeted correctly in the right place. So that's the increase there. Dues and subscriptions, same thing. It was kind of in different areas of our budget overall. So we kind of narrowed it down this fiscal year to all of ED's subscriptions and dues. Office and computer equipment be due to what Jasmine was indicating on the new position. It's the videographer equipment. It shows a breakdown there. And then also economic development needs a new computer and new photo equipment. Special events. This is another line item that was spread throughout the city in different budgetary line items. And so we narrowed it down to all of the special events that ED is responsible for. And therefore, they're all included in detail in the justifications. And again, these are subject to any changes that you would like to make. Professional services, this goes into the appraisals and the commercial property for the appraisals. Also the update on the branding, the RFP, and then the annual RFP newspaper ad. And then we have the capital outlay items that we had indicated in the beginning of the presentation. So fiscal year 2025, the budget was 405,182. Proposing is 732,732, which is an 81% increase. And again, some of these items were budgeted across the city's budget, and we got them all in one place. Any questions?
Sean, if you can go back up real quick.
Sure.
Mayor, if I may, I just wanted to point out the capital improvements. That's where the land acquisition for Cesar Chavez intersection is. So you'll see that's the 275. So that, you know, that's a big amount, just so you know. But that was put in her budget.
Next one is community development. Again, the increase on salaries due to COLA. The main ones would be the professional services. Due to the fact that there is additional development, the budget went up, anticipating the new development coming into Somerton. They are requesting a vehicle. And then they do have the CIP for the Somerton entrance line, sign, excuse me. The fiscal year 25 budget was $609,019. This year, they're proposing $792,009, which is an increase of 30%. Any questions? Now we have the police department. The police department does have the increase in wages brought to you previously. And then the additional officers that are requesting to be filled. The overall budget for police department has only increased 12%. Fiscal year 2025. It was $4,208,442. This year, they're proposing $4,701,331. They have their CIPs in there that we had talked to you about previously. And then, as Louis mentioned, the additional admin assistant that we're trying to iron out the details on. Have any questions? The next one is Animal Control Department. Again, going with salaries at a 5% COLA. There's really not a lot of significant change on animal control. They had a 3% decrease. The fiscal year 25 budget was 237,254, and the fiscal year 26 proposed budget is 230,541. The decrease is due to the capital outlay that they had last year. Do you have any questions? Next one is Fire Department. Again, overall budget is for fiscal year 2025 was $3,492,389. The proposed is $4,455,194. It's a 28% increase. Earlier in fiscal year 25, we brought to your attention in regards to salaries. The repair and maintenance of the CIP for the ambulance is the auto loader was a significant one. Any questions? The next one is Senior Center. This overall budget was a 6% increase due to COLA, health insurance, most of the employee benefit portions of it. The fiscal year 25 amount was 276,972, and this year's proposed amount is 293,973. Any questions? I can get that a little bit bigger. Can you guys see that? The next one is Parks and Rec. I just want to give a shout out to James, the Parks and Rec director, because his budget, he really extensively broke down all of the labor. He did a time study for 6 months. He went through line item by line item for his recreation with the help of his staff, broke down all the events, and really did a detailed job on trying to get the right and correct amounts for these budgets within his department. So I wanted to say thank you. The overall fiscal year 25 budget was $1,533,704. The proposed budget is $2,040,600.87, which is a 33% increase.
I'm looking
The
at
big-
the part-time wages, the actual date, so we are well over doubling that.
So last year, fiscal year 25, the lifeguards did not get budgeted. So our whole summer program for the lifeguards personnel was not included in the 63,000 that was budgeted for fiscal year 25. So that's the biggest, that was the biggest item. And then a lot of his aides, the rec aides, were contracted employees, which we shouldn't have had contract employees because they should have been on our payroll. So all of those got moved over as well. Any other questions? The special events was pulled from here and put in their own division budget in order to get a better handle on what we actually pay for our special events. So that's the next budget. This one doesn't have a comparison due to the fact that this is a newly created division. Again, James worked on pulling all of the amounts that pertain to your special events and put them in one budget. He does break it down as far as on line item 107042. I asked them if they could give me an update on, because I know that this past year, fiscal year 25, they really worked on sponsorships and getting donations. So total sponsorships as of today's date was $36,550. And then the expected sponsorships for fiscal year 26 is going to be $60,300. Any questions? The next division is facilities. Again, the fiscal year 25 budget was $211,800. The proposed budget for fiscal year 26 is $358,260. This is an increase of 69%. And again, a lot of these items were placed in other budgetary areas. They were all mixed around. So we try to do our due diligence in order to get them in all in one place so that we really can determine how much we spent on our maintenance for our facilities.
Mayor, if I may,
Yes.
just want to show you on 106822, we did put, we allocated 10,000 to start looking at our ADA compliance at our facilities. So just wanted to point that out, that we can start looking at those things, and I start identifying, James and his department can start identifying those needs and then looking at potential funding or how we're going to address those.
Thank you. Any questions? Now we're getting into our Public Works Division. The first one is the streets. Overall, just going to the down, fiscal year 25 budget was $1.9 million. The proposed budget is $1,378,917, which is a decrease of 29%. And as stated previously, the Fleets Department has been removed from the streets division. So therefore that pretty much associates the decrease in the expenses removed from streets. All the CIP items that we had discussed are in these line items. You'll see like in 53, you have 163,000. And then you have the 232,000 on the capital improvement. Any questions? I'm sorry. Kind of went really fast on that one. The next one is the sanitation division. We have the salaries. The budget on sanitation, I believe that it was budgeted a little different last year. So I broke it down into the individual and then put in the 3% COLA. There was items on this budget, if you'll notice, the item number 527339, the online bill pay. This is the portion that we take water payments and all the other financing portion of it for water, sanitation, and wastewater. Last year, the auditings try to get to where those amounts were, wasn't done very well. So this whole past fiscal year, I've been trying to itemize all of those items so that we can ensure that these calculations are correct and their budget is correct. And then when we go to rate studies or any other studies that we have to do on these budgets, that they're accurate. So the bottom line is for fiscal year 25 was 978,451. The fiscal year proposed 26 budget is $999,139.20, which is a 2% increase. Any questions? Recycling division. Last year, this was budgeted only for personnel and one equipment outlay. It did not present the other items that are pertain to recycling, and they were coming out of the sanitation division. So this year, we ensured that all of the items that were needing to be allocated for the personnel as well as the operations of the recycling division were put on there. So that's why you see the 20% increase. The original fiscal year 25 was 87,928, and the proposed fiscal year 26 is 118,502. Any questions? The next one is wastewater division. You have the salary increase for the 5% COLA. You have the CIPs in there. Again, they have also some of the accounting and bill pay line items that weren't budgeted last year. And then, of course, the increase on our insurance. Chemicals as well. We've been trying to procure our chemicals because the chemicals are rising in cost. So we're trying to procure them and do the best that we can to secure a rate for the whole year. So we're working with the plant and the supervisor to do that. You have the capital outlay in there. Their office equipment and computer equipment, office and computer equipment. We are requesting for tablets for the outside, the on-site technicians, due to the fact that so they can get their items and their work orders on tablet and don't have to be sitting in front of a computer and close out their work orders and do that. So that is being requested. And then, of course, on the bottom is all of our WIFA loans and our leases that we are annually paying on. So fiscal year 25 was 2.2 million. This year proposed is $3,105,638. It's an increase of 27%. Any questions? Water division. The salaries, again, this was another one that was, the calculation was off on the salaries for last year. So I went individually and calculated the salaries to ensure that the correct salary was there, and then plus the 5% COLA. The main ones are CIPs, chemicals, insurance, and bonds. Other services, the porta potties, the postage, and the water services. there's an increase there. So that went up a little bit. So overall, in water, fiscal year 25 was 2.4 million. This year is 2,225,581. It's a decrease of 8%. Part of that is due to the water tank being completed because the water tank rolled over a little bit in fiscal year 25. And then, of course, we have the loans and the bonds and the lease payments. Fleet services, a new division. Again, as stated, that has been taken out of streets division and put in their own so that we can allocate and really hone in on what is being expended for our fleet. So this is a proposed amount of $357,591. Any questions on this one? So that is our overall presentation. In closing, we're seeking just kind of a little bit of direction. If you see anything that highlights or that you see anything that we've missed, if you can go ahead and let us know. We're going to be requesting our work session May 6th in order to do the balance of the budget so you can see it again one more time in detail with the revenues to determine that if whatever we have to cut in the meanwhile between now and then.
Yes, go ahead.
Realistic and everything, I think if say let's go for it. Realistically, how much of this do you really think?
Well, a lot of these big items, again, going back to the pond, a lot of these big items really anticipate on getting funding for them. So working in the fiscal year of 26 to secure some type of funding and get the direction of council in order to move forward in that. So a lot of those big increases are coming from those large projects, funding purposes. So realistically, and I do have some revenue, just kind of an overbase. I got my state revenue share packets last week. And just to give you an anticipated, so the approximate sales tax that I'm anticipating for fiscal year 26 is about 4 million. So that looks, it's a small increase, very, very small. So realistically, we are going to have to probably go back and cut some items. But again, it's going off of the direction of council as far as like the larger items, how we're going to move forward in funding those.
At least for me, and I think council.
And that's.
I think that's where those tough conversations.
Yes.
And find those, supplemental resources to make it happen. I like the fact that everything is very detailed and
It's a semi wish list, I will say. Finance department and admin worked very hard to vet a lot of these items. This wish list was way bigger. So we did think realistically and what is needed and what takes priority. So yes, in essence, it's not balanced yet. But I'm gonna work real hard in trying to figure out and see how that balance can be happening. And realistically, like I said, that the sales tax anticipation is not a very big increase. But we're being realistic about it. We're being, really realistic. Because in our shared revenue for state, it decreased 7%. So this coming fiscal year, it's going to be decreased 7%.
Because I mean, I know you right now, you said that you know, well, council's directions and all that. For us, I mean, at least for me, we would love to support all of this, but I think for you guys to come in and find ways to make it sustainable and keep that. So keep your recommendations for us. It's kind of crucial.
Yeah, and I think the more of the recommendation is coming from the larger projects. And really what your direction as council is for the larger CIP projects. You know, operational is operational, and we'll try to maneuver and figure out the savings that we can do through our operational budgets. But the larger projects of how we're moving forward to fund that. I mean, I've talked to administration this morning in regards to like maybe 3 or 4 items that are sunsetting this next couple of fiscal years. And to see how that works out. And then even giving options of not trying to pay so much interest on a lot of these items that you guys have done as in the past, and trying to save that money for us instead of paying interest on those. So those are some conversations that we'll come back to council with, and try to break that down for you so that we can get some kind of direction on that to help us with some of our funding sources.
Yeah, we need to get a, handle on the items that are sunsetting. Some of them are with the property tax, and that was passed for public safety and streets. So it's something that we need to look at if those are GATA loans that are sunsetting. So we need to have those discussions and earmark those numbers and decide whether we're gonna.
We're still paying on this fiscal year. So during this upcoming fiscal year 26, are going to be those discussions.
Mayor, if I may, just like Shawna mentioned, there are some sunsetting the loans and that are coming this next year, final payments, which are substantial amounts. So we want to get all that information. There's also some other outstanding debt that might be an opportunity for us to buy or pay and get away from the interest that we're paying. So we're trying to put that plan together. We do have some meetings looking at bond options and also other revenue things, sources or consolidations that would give us an opportunity to do these big projects, but keep the same level of debt somewhat. So we this next year, at least next fiscal year, we really want to have that deep conversation so that the following year we'll be ready. Well, we'll hopefully be prepared to provide you some amounts, and you can provide some priorities on bigger projects to finish off. So just that this next year is when they actually sunset. So
yeah.
Any other questions or comments?
No, Mayor, just wanna, I see very long faces here. So thank you guys for all this, all the directors and employees that put this together, very detailed for pair of boots and, whatever things that you guys put in, help us, see what's going out there, like Council Member Castillo said, I think, you guys want a direction from us where to go, but at the same time, we want to see the revenues and expenses to be at least, so we can have some cushion in case something happens, at least we got there. And I think, from finance department, you understand that. Everything, we're hoping that everything that is presented can be in the budget, but, like I said, being realistic, I know there's some things that need to be cut. Doesn't mean we don't like a specific department or whatever it is, but I think, we need to be just think of the things that we can save or maybe move to another year. I know some big items are coming, and if they don't come in, or if we don't have to do them, then we can save that money there. But at the same time, I think with the COLA and all that, a lot of trainings that went up to, a lot of things that are doing, different departments, fleet department, HR department, things that are coming up that is more than maybe we're not anticipating on that. So I think, like I said, realistically, it's gonna be hard to put all of it this budget, but hopefully with your help, with Louis' help, putting the expenditures and the revenues and everything is gonna give us at least, to see what can we do, or at least what, where we at. So thank you, Shona, for presenting. Thank you all of you guys for that, and we're hoping, the best, and we'll see.
Yeah, and we had our preliminary meetings with several council members, so information that we requested, hopefully you get it to us. There was, staff doesn't know, we had meetings with a couple council members at a time in order to look at the overall budget. There were some questions. What comes to mind right now was on the ladder truck, that it's costing too much. That was a statement. So like always, I want to verify, I want to see invoices, how much we're spending, and how much would it cost to change the equipment on the ladder truck, because that's a big ticket item. And so the information that was requested during those meetings, council's expecting that type of information. Because yeah, I saw most of the department budgets are going up. There were probably a few that were reallocated. So, and like you said, our revenues are not that different. So it's one of those things that, how are we gonna be able to balance the budget, or be able to have enough revenues to fulfill this budget. So, and I feel that last year we broke down the budget in 3 parts, and this one, after the first 45 minutes, I was like getting a headache. So I'm pretty sure I missed some stuff at the end, but you could tell I had more questions at the beginning, and then later on I was like, the transfer. So that was a good one, Shona. Okay.
No questions? Next.
Mayor, if I may. I think tonight was just giving you the overall and what we're trying to work on and do, but at the same time, we will have another one, and please share any priorities. We'll get that information to you. We know that vehicle maintenance replacement, especially those high-end vehicles, we're going to be looking into that. Costs have gone up for materials and supplies. One of the things that I just want to remind Mayor and Council is, we do have an aging plant, sewer plant, wastewater plant that we're going to have to really look at, and that's going to be a big number also. We've been doing some minor repairs that you'll see in the budget, but that's not going to be compared to what really needs to be done for that. So that's going to be something. And so those are things that we're looking at. But really, if there's anything that, like Shona mentioned, that sticks out to you, say, hey, that is a priority, please let me know. If there's anything that you might not have seen that you've mentioned before, please let us know. We think we captured everything, but again, if there's something that's not that you don't see, please ask, and we'll make sure that we identify it. And if it's somewhere else or somehow got missed, we'll make sure we're letting you know.
Any other questions or comments? 7:34, meeting's adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.